In today's video, I'm going to give you a complete overview of Google Slides and everything you can do on that platform. So let's dive into it with another flipped classroom tutorial. Hi, my name is Seti and welcome back to the channel where we make educational technology easy for you. Now, everyone with a G Suite account, but also everyone with a personal Gmail account has access to Google Slides. Now, Google Slides is Google's answer to a presentation software, and it's increasingly powerful. Now, many features have been added over the past few years and months, and many more are coming out as we speak. So let's go ahead and have a look at just exactly what you can do in Google Slides and what is not available in Google Slides at the moment. Now, first things first, let's create a Google Slides. Now, there's a number of different ways to do that. You could either go to your Google Drive, and that's where you then create a new slide by either right-clicking, adding a new slide, or by clicking on that big plus new icon. Once you've done that, you select Google Slides. Another way of creating a new slideshow is by using one of the URL shortcuts. So you can just go into the Omnibox and type slides.new or slide.new. That will open up a new slideshow. Now, once you've got your slideshow, there's a number of things that you'll have to do first. First things first, let's title our slide. So you can click at the top and you can change the title. Once you've done that, you're going to want to check where on your Google Drive your slide is going to live, because at the moment it lives in your My Drive space. So if you are a little bit unorganized, then you're going to be losing this file very soon. So what you want to do is you want to click on that little folder icon next to the name. Once you've done that, you can specify which folder you want this slideshow to live in. Go ahead and do that. And then if you are still working on this slide, there is one more thing you can do to make it easy for you to find this slide, and that's turn on the star. Once it's starred in your drive, you can then find this file by going to your starred files. Once you're done editing, remove the star and there's no longer a shortcut to this file. Now, upon opening up your slideshow, you'll see that there is a themes browser that opens up as well. Let's say that you don't see this browser, well then you can find it by going into the slide menu, and at the bottom you will see change theme. Now, there's a number of standard themes available, and these just come with Google Slides, and what you can do is you can simply select one of these and automatically all your fonts, your different slide types, your different designs are going to be pushed out and you can start using these. So we've now selected our first theme and we have our first slide. So let's go ahead and type in demo. And then as subtitle, I'm going to be putting fliptutorials.com. Now, you can choose your own title or subtitle, and you could even just leave out the titles by deleting these text boxes. Now, these text boxes are part of this theme or template that you have been presented. Now, let's say that you want to add a second slide. Well, then you're going to be going to the side, and there's a plus icon there that you can click, and when you click on that, a blank slide shows up. However, if you want a little bit more control over what your next slide looks like, make sure that you navigate to the drop-down arrow. Now, that drop-down arrow allows you to select any of the preset slides within this theme or template. Once you've selected the one that you would like to use, go ahead and click on it, and that slide will now appear in your slideshow. Now, let's go back to that first slide and let's see if there's another way of adding a slide. We can go to the menu at the top where it says slide, and here we can also add a slide. However, as before, when you use that menu at the top and you add a new slide, it is automatically the default blank slide. So make sure that you use that drop-down arrow and that you can select the slides that you really want to use in your slideshow. Next is doing some basic editing. Now, our slideshow allows us to add different elements. We can add shapes, we can add text boxes, we can add in graphs and all other types of content. Now, the way we do that is by navigating to our insert menu. Now, here you will see that we can insert an image, we can insert a video, and all other types of content. Now, the first one I'm going to be looking at is image. So go ahead and click on image, and then we're going to use the built-in search functionality. Now, the reason we do that is because this really saves us time, and it helps your students from not being all over the place and have lots of different tabs open. you can have an image search from within your slideshow so you can quickly get on with your work. Now when you click on search, you're going to have that sidebar open up where it says search for images. Now you will note there's a little disclaimer there, and these are images that have been labeled okay for reuse. That means that you can use these in your classroom and your students can use these, and you don't have to worry about using images that you should not be using. It is also a safe search, which means that your students are a lot safer using the built-in search within Google Sites rather than a standard Google search. Now let's go ahead and search for an image of a tiger. Now I'm going to be looking for a photograph of a tiger, and I want to add it onto my slide. So now that I have a photograph, I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to press that insert button. Now at the top, the first one that you'll notice is that there is a format button. So when you click on that format button, you can change the size of your image, you can change its position, you can even add some recolor and special effects to this image. But for the sake of this demonstration, we're going to leave everything as it is. And instead of editing our image, I'm going to use something called the Explore button. Now the Explore button is incredibly useful in Google Slides to save time. So what you're going to do is you're going to add all the content you want to use onto a single slide. And once you've done that, click on that Explore button. Now the Explore button is automatically going to read and interpret all the content on your slide and suggest a number of different layouts. Using these different layouts, I'm going to select one that I quite like, and then we're going to change that onto our slideshow. Now you could easily do this for every single slide and just have your students play around with the Explore button. Now instead of wasting time moving images around and resizing them and changing the font colors and everything else, you can have them add their content and at the end go through the Explore button and they have a presentable presentation ready for you to enjoy in the classroom. Now have a look at the bottom. Now these are your speaker notes. This is where you can add your bullet points or all the things that you have to say as you're presenting this slideshow. Now these will not be viewable to the audience and they are only viewable to you, the presenter. Now in order for you to see these, you have to present in a slightly different way. Now at the top you'll note that there is a present button, and when I click on that button, what I see is what my audience sees. So that is a standard presenting. However, I can also click on the drop-down arrow and I can use the presenter view. Now the presenter view will give me a preview of all the coming slides. It also gives me my speaker notes. Now this opens up in a second window, which means that if you have multiple displays or if you have an external display attached to your device, then you can use this to present and already prepare for that coming slide. This is very similar to other presentation software, but it's often overlooked in Google Slides. Now the other thing I really like about this presenter view is that you have a timer. Now that timer helps you to stay on time, and often when giving a presentation you have a very limited amount of time to speak. So this helps you to stay on track. You also have some audience tools. Now when you click on audience tools, and again you have to be in presenter view to see these, you can have a Q&A. So what you can do then is you can actually prompt your audience with a question and you can start receiving some answers as well. You can also get questions from your audience at random and then reply to them as the presenter. This is a great way of having a curated back channel. Now when you click on start, an extra bar will appear on your slideshow and people can go to that URL to prompt and ask their questions. You can then answer or reply to these questions, and you can also turn off the Q&A at any given time. I've used this in the classroom as a back channel or simply as an anonymous way of getting some questions about what's going on in the classroom. I've also used it when presenting to larger groups to get some participation from the group. This is another function within Google Slides that is incredibly useful, but very few people actually know about it. So go ahead and have a go at using these audience participation tools and let me know in that comment section below how it went. Now back to the editor. Now you will note that I have 3 slides here and I'm ready to give my presentation. However, for this particular group, I do not need that second slide. I don't want it to show up as I'm presenting. So what I can do is I can temporarily skip the slide. The way you do that is you right click on the slide that you would like to have skipped, and then you're going to select skip slide. Now when I'm presenting, this slide is going to be skipped. I won't see it. I won't even know it's there. However, when you stay and remain in the edit view, as some people do when they're presenting, then you will still see this slide in the left-hand side. On to the second type of media or object that you can insert, and that's a video. Now, the reason I want to show you how to insert a video onto a Google Slides is because you can use the power of YouTube and you get some additional features that are not available on many of the other platforms. Now, the main one that I use in my classroom is the start and end time. So let's go ahead and go to the insert menu, then select video. And again, we're prompted with this search. We're going to search for tigers. And then we're going to insert that video. Now, as you can see, this is a very long video, and obviously I'm not going to be using the entire video in my classroom. I only want a 10-second snippet. Let's say that I want second 10 all the way up to second 20, and then I want it automatically stopped. I also do not want any sound or any other distractions that are distracting my students as I'm teaching my lesson. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on our video, and then we're going to go into our format options. Here we now have the video playback options, and within those video playback options we can select a start time and end time. We can automatically start playing this as the slides opens up, and we can mute the audio. So that's exactly what we're going to do now. We're going to start the video at 10 seconds, end our video at 20 seconds, and then we're going to automatically play it and mute the audio. Now, what you will see is as you're presenting, this video starts playing, it automatically stops, the audio is muted, and you don't have to worry about any further distractions. This is incredibly useful. You can use this for timers, you can use it for all sorts of content, or you can even use this for some background music as you're doing a writing task in class. So make sure that you leave in that comment section below how you are using insert video, what you think are some of the added benefits of a start and end time, and also have you used any specific type of videos in your lessons. I would love to hear that. Leave it in the comment section and then scroll back up to this video. On your way up, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can see our future videos as well. Now, let's say that there are multiple people all editing the same slideshow. Well, then you might want to start adding some version information. So you can have a version 1, version 2, version 3 of that same slideshow. Where can you change that? Well, that's in your File menu. So when you go to File, you can scroll down and you can find Version History. This is where you can now name your version, and then you can change it as time progresses. This way you don't lose track of all the changes you've made over time, and you can see improvement to that slideshow. So let's say that there is a presentation that you've given to multiple groups, and you've slightly tweaked it each and every time you present. Well, you can keep a record of the previous versions, and then you can reflect back onto your work and improve each and every time. This is great when you're working with students and you want them to get used to that growth mindset, and you want to make sure that they understand that it's okay to make changes, it's okay to make mistakes, and you learn from those mistakes. Now, the third type of media that we can insert into our slideshow is a chart. Now, we can either start from scratch and create a new chart by going to Insert Charts and then selecting one of those charts, or we can pull in a chart that has already been made in a spreadsheet. Now, this is a very powerful way of doing it, because what we can do as we're pulling in these charts is we can keep a link between the two. That means whenever our sheet is updated, the chart in our sheet is updated, and then the chart on our slideshow is updated. This way you have the most up-to-date version of your chart. Now, as you insert a chart, you'll see there is a tick box. You can tick this box or untick the box to insert that chart. Once your chart is there, you can have your data updated in the back end, and your slideshow will automatically adjust itself. Now, one thing that is quite limited within the Google Slides ecosystem are the animations. Now, you can add some slide animations, and you simply go to Insert Animation to do this. And you can also animate some of the objects, such as text and images, by right-clicking on that object and then selecting Animate. Now, the animations, they're very limited. They're your basic fade in, fade out, and slide in or out onto your slideshow. Now, you can choose when these animations take place. So you can choose whether they take place with the previous, after the previous, or on click. Again, very basic. Don't expect any fancy animations as you would in some of the other presentation software. Then again, Google Slides' strength is in its simplicity and its focus on getting work done. So for your students, this might be exactly what you want, and you don't want them to get too excited about all these different animations and use the Google Slides platform as a way of presenting themselves in a professional manner without all the fancy animations. Now, let's say that you've finished a presentation and you would like to have it displayed on a computer. Now, I've got a number of computers in the back of my room, and what I do is I have a presentation that runs through some of the vocabulary we're using that week. And what happens then is the slideshow automatically goes to the next slide, and I can tweak this from my master slideshow. The way I do that is by going to publish to the web. Now, if you want to have a slideshow automatically progress to the next slide, this is going to be the way to do it. Now, in order for you to set this up, you go to File and then Publish to Web. Now, once you've published to the web, you get a special URL, and this URL will be your presentation that automatically goes from one slide to the other. You can set that time, and you have a number of extra options there that you can tweak. Once you've done that, your slideshow at this URL will automatically reflect those changes. You can also unpublish the website when you want to take it offline altogether. And then one more thing I want to mention in this video that you can do in Google Slides that I think is incredibly useful is you can copy slides from one slideshow to another and retain a link. That means that as you edit a slide in one, it automatically changes in another. So let's say that you have two presentations. One is for a year 6 class, the other for a year 7 class. Now, within those presentations, there is one slide that is the same for both. Now, what you can do is you can keep this linked by simply copying it on the first slideshow, pasting it into the second one, and selecting that you want to retain a link. What happens now is as I change that first slide on my year 6 slideshow, it automatically changes in my year 7 slideshow. This is great for those slides that contain data or numbers that need to be the same in every slideshow, regardless of the target group. So what you can do is you can keep that link, similar to the way that your charts can stay linked to your spreadsheets. I think this is incredibly useful. Once a slide is linked, you can see an extra icon on the left-hand side that shows you that there is a link. You can also go into your Tools menu and find out about all the linked objects in your slideshow, and this will give you an overview of all the linked charts, tables, and slides that you have in this slideshow. And then the final thing I want to show you in this video is how to link to slides. So let's say that you're adding a hyperlink on your first page and you have an overview of different student names. Now you want to navigate to different slides depending on the name you click on. What you can do is you highlight that name and then you right click. Once you've done that, you can click on link. Now this is the way that you're going to link to external websites, but it's also how you can link to slides within your slideshow. So here you can now select the relevant slide that you want this word to be linked to, and that means as you're using your presentation, whenever you click on that word or name, it automatically skips ahead to that slideshow. Now this is great for choose your own adventure style games or even presentations where students have input and then they are getting the information depending on the choices they've made on a previous slide. It takes a little bit of time setting up, but once it's set up, it's incredibly powerful and useful and great for learning and revision. Now, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, let me know in that comment section below which features are your favorite features, which ones would you like to see added to Google Slides, and which ones do you use all the time. On your way back up, hit that subscribe button. Also hit that bell notification because that's the only way that you can get notified whenever a new video goes live. I hope you found this helpful and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.